Malcador the hero, the Sigillite, the closest friend and confidant to the Emperor. Malcador was the first regent of the Imperium. Though not a warrior of flesh and steel, his unmatched psychic might and administrative genius built the foundations of the imperial bureaucracy and its shadow organizations. In the final, desperate hours of the Horus heresy, he committed the ultimate sacrifice, burning his own soul upon the golden throne so the emperor could face the war master. Constantin Valdor, Chief Custodian, the first Chief Custodian of the Adeptus Custodes. Constantin Valdor was one of the earliest demigod warriors created by the Emperor's own hand. Far more than a mere bodyguard, Valdor was a true peer to the Emperor, understanding his grand philosophies, his darkest secrets, and his ultimate visions like no other. He stood as a silent, unyielding pillar of absolute loyalty. Erda, the genetic mother, an ancient perpetual and the genetic mother of the Primarchs. Erda was once the Emperor's oldest companion and ally in guiding humanity. However, horrified by the brutal, militaristic future the Emperor envisioned for mankind, she betrayed him, sabotaging the Primarch laboratory and scattering the infant demigods across the cold stars to save them from his grand design. John Grammaticus and Ollanius Persson, ancient Perpetuals, whose bonds with the Emperor date back to the dawn of human history, from ancient Babylon to the devastating world wars of old Earth. Though their paths eventually diverged into separate destinies and opposing factions, they remain the Emperor's oldest and most tragic ties to humanity's mortal roots. Arkhan, the Techno-Archaeologist, one of the most brilliant minds of the Great Crusade era. Arkhan was one of the rare individuals privileged enough to converse casually with the Emperor, working directly within his private laboratories. His genius was so revered that the Emperor personally summoned him to analyze the horrific butcher's nails embedded deep within Angron's brain. Rogal Dorn, the Imperial Fists, the Shield of Terror and the Praetorian of the Imperial Palace. Rogal Dorn's loyalty and honesty were absolute. Tasked with fortifying the heart of the Imperium against his own flesh and blood, Dorn transformed the Imperial Palace into an impenetrable fortress, bearing the crushing, agonizing weight of the siege with stoic, unyielding resolve. Roboute Guilliman, the Ultramarines, the master of logistics, statecraft, and tactical genius. Roboute Guilliman was built to govern and organize entire empires. In the current dark millennium, he stands as the avenging sun, the living Lord Regent of the Imperium, carrying the impossible, crushing burden of saving a decaying empire from its own madness. Lion L. Johnson, the Dark Angels, the first Primarch, the ultimate monster hunter, and the Emperor's secret weapon. The Lion was a knight of unparalleled martial prowess and absolute pragmatism. He fought the darkest, most unspeakable horrors of the galaxy in total secrecy, executing tasks too dangerous or too grim for any other legion to ever know. Sanguinius, the Blood Angels, the brightest soul, the angel-winged savior, and the Emperor's most beloved son. Sanguinius possessed unmatched grace, martial perfection, and the bittersweet gift of prophecy. Despite knowing his own tragic end, he fought valiantly at the Siege of Terror, ultimately dying at the hands of Horus to create the one weakness the Emperor needed to win. Leman Russ, the Space Wolves, the Emperor's executioner and the fierce Wolf King. Leman Russ projected the image of a savage barbarian, but beneath the fury lay a cunning strategist and a fiercely loyal son. He was the ultimate weapon the Emperor unleashed when a brother Primarch or an entire civilization needed to be utterly erased from history. Jagatai Khan, the White Scars, the Khan of Khans, the master of lightning warfare and a fiercely independent soul. Moving like the wind, Jagatai refused to be bound by imperial politics. Yet, when the ultimate test came, his loyalty to his father was unyielding, turning the tide of the war with blinding speed and lethal precision. Vulcan, the Salamanders, the immortal Perpetual and master blacksmith of the Primarchs. Vulcan possessed immense, terrifying physical strength, yet he was the most compassionate of his brothers, prioritizing the protection of ordinary human lives above all else. He left behind a legacy of fire, endurance, and eternal hope. Corvus Corax, the Raven Guard, the master of shadows, stealth, and liberation. Corvus Corax fought from the darkness, utilizing lethal hit-and-run tactics to dismantle tyrants. Even after his legion was brutally devastated at the drop site massacre, his loyalty to the Emperor never wavered, as he hunted traitors from the shadows of the galaxy. Ferrus Manus, the Iron Hands, the Gorgon, leader of the Iron Hands and the symbol of unyielding strength and cold logic. With hands coated in living liquid metal, Ferrus believed that weakness must be ruthlessly purged. His tragic death at the very beginning of the heresy, decapitated by his closest brother, Fulgrim, broke the heart of his legion forever. The Adeptus Custodes, the Golden Guard. Genetically engineered by the Emperor himself, the Custodian Guard are far superior to Space Marines. Each is a unique masterpiece, a philosopher king, and an elite warrior whose loyalty is not programmed but woven into their very souls. They are the incorruptible, eternal guardians of the Golden Throne. The Sisters of Silence, the Anathema Psychana. Soulless warriors, known across the galaxy as blanks or nulls. The Sisters of Silence project an aura of pure dread that completely neutralizes psychic powers and banishes demons back to the warp. Serving as the Emperor's left hand, they guard the darkest depths of the Imperial Palace and the Webway. The Legio Damnata, the Legion of the Damned, a spectral, ghostly brotherhood of Space Marines that manifests from the warp in humanity's darkest, most hopeless hours. Covered in eerie, ethereal fire, they strike without warning. Many believe they are Imperial demons, born from the absolute psychic will of the Emperor or the vengeful souls of slaughtered loyalists. The Thunder Warriors, the Legiones Terra, the brutal precursors to the Space Marines, engineered by the Emperor to conquer and unite old Earth during the bloody Unification Wars. They were physically stronger and far more violent than their successors, but their lifespans were short and unstable. Once their bloody purpose was served, they were ruthlessly culled. The Adeptus Astartes, the Space Marines. Created from the genetic templates of the Primarchs, the Space Marines were built to conquer the stars. Divided into 20 original legions during the Great Crusade, these transhuman angels of death served as the spearhead of humanity's ascension, though half would eventually shatter the galaxy in rebellion. The Officio Assassinorum, the Shadow Blades. Formed in total secrecy by Malcador and the Emperor, this shadowy organization eliminates threats to the Imperium from the darkness. Utilizing specialized temples like the lethal Vindicare snipers or the polymorphic Calidus changelings, they strike fear into the hearts of traitors before a single blade is drawn. The Astra Militarum, the Imperial Guard. The unstoppable hammer of the Emperor, comprised of trillions of ordinary human soldiers. Lacking genetic modifications or superhuman strength, the Imperial Guard holds the line against the horrors of the galaxy through sheer numbers, unyielding grit, and a colossal wall of lasgun fire. The Adeptus Mechanicus, the Tech-Priesthood of Mars. Viewing the Emperor as the Omnisire, the physical avatar of the machine god, the Tech-Priesthood maintains an absolute monopoly on all technological knowledge, forging the weapons, the armor, and the colossal starships required to keep the Imperium's war machine alive. The Imperial Navy, the Lords of the Void. The massive void fleets that traverse the deadly currents of the galaxy. Sailing cathedral-like warships miles long, the Imperial Navy transports the Emperor's armies across the cold stars and enforces his ultimate justice through devastating orbital bombardments. The Adeptus Ministorum, the Ecclesiarchy, the colossal state church of the Imperium. Established after the Emperor was confined to the Golden Throne, the Ecclesiarchy enforces the worship of the Emperor as the one true God of humanity, ruling over the minds and souls of trillions with fanatical zeal and an iron bureaucratic grip. The Adepta Sororitas, the Sisters of Battle. The military arm of the Ecclesiarchy, consisting entirely of fanatical female warriors. Driven by absolute blinding faith in the God Emperor, the Sisters of Battle march into war chanting holy hymns, purging heretics, mutants and demons with bolter fire and holy promethium flames.